making a quick video on my experiences with the Nintendo Switch. I have one right here in my hand. For the last year, this system has been immensely popular. Been one of the best-selling systems out there. A lot of people are interested in it. It has a few good games coming out. Yada yada yada. But I wanted to talk about my experience with it and kind of the things that have stopped me from completely enjoying this system. And like my first warning was when I went over to my buddy's house. He's had his system since launch. I recently picked mine up in April, so about two and a half months ago. And when I saw his system back in April, it was already a year old, and what was happening with his was bending, and his was bending really bad. You can see his curve from a mile away. It was starting to even get to the point where even like sliding it into the dock became a problem. And I thought I wouldn't have that problem. I thought Nintendo would have fixed it by now. You know, I assumed that I had like at least the second, third revision of the Switch. So I assumed that any hardware problems were somewhat taken care of, especially with the immense popularity of this console. I thought that problems that only exist, or problems that did exist in the launch unit would have been taken care of with the revisions that they have now. But unfortunately, that is not the case. Here in my hand, I'm holding a 2-month-old Switch, and you guys can't see it there, but it is bent. Maybe some of you guys can see it, and it's hard to see. I was watching a video about Mr. Mario, and every time he looked at it, he would kind of be a little confused. He wouldn't know if it was bending or if it was just his eyes playing tricks on him. But it's not. It actually is bending. And one way to know if your Switch is bending is to put it on a flat surface, like a flat table, and get eye level with it. And what happens with this one is this doesn't match up with the table. Kind of this corner hits the table and this side hits the table, and then under here would be a little bit of space where light can come through, because it won't lay flat on the table. So there's that problem. So this problem has kind of had me wondering, is Nintendo building quality stuff? Because I know in the past sometimes it's hit or miss with them. Mostly hit. Nintendo does try to do quality stuff, but the warping of a $300 system, I mean, come on. I barely had this for 2.5 months. I haven't played it for the last month, because pretty much in the first month and a half that I got it, I pretty much played Mario Odyssey, and I borrowed my buddy's Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild to play. So I played those 2 games. But it's pretty insane, because all this damage happened in a month and a half. No, this system bent the way it is now in a month and a half, and that really sucks. And I really wanted to let the world know, as you guys can probably tell from the title of this video, don't buy a Switch just yet, especially if you're somebody who just wants to buy a Switch once and never go back or return it or anything like that. The Switches are having hardware problems, and it's not being talked about in the frequency that it's happening. I don't know if that's Nintendo fanboyism. I don't know what's going on with that, but you know, before we have a red ring situation the way the 360 had, it's better to bring this stuff into light so that people don't buy these defective systems and get burnt the way I did. Now I can RMA this, but that's such a painful process. I pretty much have to send my my system in. I have to go somewhere, which doesn't sound like much, but I have to put this in a box, tape it up. I have to go somewhere, give them the box so that they can send it back to them. Then I have to wait a few days so that they can give me my system back that I paid them $300 for, and it's just a real inconvenience, honestly. But yeah, I wanted you guys to know that Nintendo Switches are having that problem. It's not just Mr. Mario. Mr. Mario is not the only one who Switch is not at the quality level that it should be. I believe the problem is more widespread, especially with the launch units. The launch units that I've seen have just deteriorated beyond belief. But anyways, you guys be careful. You guys have a good one. Comment, like, rate, subscribe. Keep this video in mind when you do go to buy a Switch, especially if you do go to buy one used and it's a launch unit. Think about it twice. But anyways, you guys have a good one.